Coming up tonight, Singapore reports a sudden spike in COVID-19 cases linked to a migrant worker dormitory.
All residents of one block at NTU are to self-isolate immediately after traces of the virus are found.
And according to new guidelines, employers may ask unvaccinated staff to pay for regular testing.
This is the Straits Times Newsnight. I'm Chow Suan.
Good evening, I'm Dylan Ng. A significant spike in the number of local COVID-19 cases today, with a total of 94 locally transmitted cases. Now, 59 of these are linked to migrant worker dormitory North Coast Lodge and were detected through testing operations conducted after 3 residents at the dormitory tested positive.
So far, about 2,200 workers have been swabbed, and testing for the rest of the 3,200 residents is ongoing. As a precautionary measure, all residents at the dormitory have been placed on movement restriction order. Of the remaining 35 cases, 16 are linked to previous cases and have already been placed on quarantine. 19 cases are currently unlinked. In addition, there are 4 imported cases who have already been placed on SHN or isolation upon arrival in Singapore.
Also in the headlines, mandatory testing today for NTU's residents of Hall 13, Block 61. Now this after wastewater testing detected traces of COVID-19 in the block. All 38 residents in the affected block, excluding those who have not checked in, had to undergo a supervised antigen rapid test. All have been told to self-isolate immediately.
The vaccination statuses of employees have come back into focus. Under a set of new guidelines, all employers have been urged to consider implementing a regime for existing employees and new hires to get vaccinated or to undergo regular tests.
As part of efforts to boost vaccination rates, employers may also ask staff who are eligible but choose not to be vaccinated to pay for regular testing and exclude them from medical benefits linked to COVID-19. Employers can also require that the additional days a medically eligible but unvaccinated employee has to serve for treatment or SHN be taken from existing leave entitlements or go on no-pay leave.
Employers should not terminate or threaten to terminate the service of an employee on the basis of vaccination status alone, but they can terminate an unvaccinated employee who does not comply with reasonable vaccination differentiated workplace measures.
Online bidders looking to buy slots for the Sinovac jab have been found on local e-commerce marketplace Carousel. And the Health Ministry says it has its eye out for such sales and is prepared to take enforcement action when warranted. The ministry said individuals with booking slots should not exploit the situation and take advantage of people who want to be vaccinated. The authorities have not received any complaints related to the online posts, and it remains unclear if any transaction has taken place.
Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong will deliver his National Day Rally 2021 speech this Sunday, August 29th. He will first speak in Malay at 6:45 p.m, then Mandarin at 7:15, before doing so in English at 8 p.m.
The rally is expected to look at the full range of measures to continue uplifting the incomes of Singaporeans and ensure fair hiring at the workplace. Say hello to faster internet speeds. 5G tech standard for broadband cellular networks will cover half of Singapore by the end of 2022 and cover the whole island by 2025. This was announced by Trade and Industry Minister Gan Kim Yong at a virtual conference organized by US-based industry group SEMI. Mr. Gan said that 5G networks will help spur innovation, create exciting business and job opportunities, and position Singapore as a leading digital economy.
Lending a helping hand, Singapore will offer the United States the use of one of its tanker aircraft to airlift evacuees from Afghanistan. This was announced during a press conference by Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong and US Vice President Kamala Harris, who is in Singapore on a 3-day visit. Prime Minister Lee said that the RSAF's A330 multi-role tanker transport, which enhances the SAF's ability to contribute to international humanitarian assistance and disaster relief missions, will be deployed to aid the situation in Kabul after the city fell to the Taliban on August 15th.
And on Afghanistan specifically, I mentioned to Vice President that we knew that the US was conducting an evacuation operation of refugees from Afghanistan, and Singapore would like to offer to the US the use of the RSAF's, Republic of Singapore Air Forces, Airbus 330 multi-role tanker and transporter aircraft.
Vice President Kamala Harris is the most senior U.S. official to visit the region since President Joe Biden was sworn in January. In her remarks, she spoke about the long-standing and enduring partnership between the U.S. and Singapore.
This is a relationship that is based on shared vision, both in terms of the challenges we face, but also the opportunities that we face to work together to meet those challenges. And it relates again to the historic relationship that we have on the issue of security and economic strength. But it is also about what we can do to work together to discover the medicines that might attack and deal with the next virus. It is about the future in terms of our mutual commitment, curiosity and interest in what we can do in space. It is about what we have in terms of shared values for the need for universal norms on the issue of cybersecurity. It is about the interest that we have in being a global partner on the issue of vaccines, for example, and our shared commitment, understanding that when we have the resources, that we will share them with the world. These are the things that Singapore and the United States have in common.
Now let's take a look at what's been sparking our interest online today. Mammals on the brink of extinction in Singapore are making a comeback. Our forests may be fragmented and small, but they thrive with life. And now conservationists are excited over the fact that even mammals on the brink of extinction are making a comeback. 8 species of mammals have been downlisted, meaning that experts here now consider them less endangered than before. 5 of them, the smooth-coated otter, lesser mouse deer, Sunda slow loris, trefoil horseshoe bat, and lesser false vampire bat, went from critically endangered to endangered. The lesser bamboo bat is now considered vulnerable to extinction when previously it was seen as critically endangered. Another 2 bat species are now listed as species of least concern, which means they are no longer under the threat of extinction.
With Japan having successfully hosted the Olympic Games, it's time to pay attention to the Paralympic Games, which start tomorrow and ends on September 5th. Team Singapore is sending 10 athletes across 6 sports to fly our flag high, and here's a quick look at just some of the athletes to look out for. Swimmer Yip Pin Siew, our nation's most decorated Paralympian, made history at the last Paralympics when she won 2 gold medals. She'll compete in both the 50-meter and 100-meter S2 events in Tokyo, her 4th Paralympics outing. Equestrian Laurentia Tan also making her 4th Games appearance and will partner Gemma Fu and Maximilian Tan in the dressage team event. And not forgetting several debutantes, including powerlifter Nur Aini Muhammad Yasli and cyclist Steve T. All the very best, guys.
Ng Teng Fong General Hospital has been piloting a remote monitoring system to take care of patients who require help breathing.
The idea is if the COVID-19 situation gets out of hand and there are not enough ICU beds, this will be something hospitals can rely on. Multimedia journalist Azim Azman explains.
This patient's vital signs are being remotely monitored. Although not in the same room, a respiratory therapist is monitoring details such as the patient's oxygen saturation levels and his respiration rate. The team at Ng Teng Fong General Hospital demonstrated how they could remotely monitor patients with chronic respiratory conditions on non-invasive ventilation, or NIV.
So comparatively to the old system where we had to wait for the nurse to pick up the alarm, call us, and then we would do some troubleshooting over the phone before going up to the wards ourselves. The new system is definitely much faster, where we can instantaneously visualize the patient scenario, what's going on with their vitals as well as the NIV parameters. And so straight away, we can have an idea of what's going on with the patient, and then we call the nurse, we proactively call the nurse, and we are able to give her instant solutions, even for troubleshooting and fixing whatever's wrong, or we can immediately recommend that she escalate if needed.
Patient in bed 52. Could you help me to check on him? He's in respiratory distress.
Remote monitoring means the new system cuts the time needed to assess and attend to a patient by minutes.
While right now I think the COVID situation is well controlled and our ICU still have lots of beds available, in the event that in a future scenario where there is a big surge and all the ICU beds are filled up, this remote monitoring process will give us the confidence and assurance of being able to monitor patients who may require NIV therapy, especially non-infectious patients in the ward, via the ICU monitoring process.
Trials began in April when 21 COVID-negative patients with chronic but stable respiratory conditions were placed on the pilot. During that time, the team saw 95 alarms. 7 of those alarms led to timely interventions by either the respiratory therapists or ward nurses. Azim Azman for the Straits Times.
And that wraps up the Straits Times Newsnight. Do visit straitstimes.com to see more news and videos.
You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the button below. Keep safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.